She forgot my birthday for 12 straight years but somehow remembered my bank account when Samantha got married. It was a Thursday when the email came. No subject, no greeting. Just a PDF attachment labeled, Wedding Contribution Request. Natalie. I opened it thinking maybe it was a mistake. It wasn't. It was an invoice. $6,500, due immediately. There was no note, no thank you. No, we know this is a lot. Just a spreadsheet with my name at the top, and a breakdown of costs. Flowers, catering, venue, and in bold. Split between daughters, per family tradition. Family tradition. They hadn't even sent me an invitation yet. I stared at the screen so long it went dark. My chest didn't burn. It went cold, not from shock but from confirmation. It wasn't a mistake. It was who they were. They didn't want me at the table, just wanted me to help pay for the meal. It had been 12 years since my mother last acknowledged my birthday. Not a call, not a text, not even a passive-aggressive post on Facebook, just silence. Every April 4th, I'd sit quietly, half hoping maybe this was the year. It never was, but they remembered Samantha's wedding, every detail, every dollar. And they remembered me when the final bill was due. I didn't respond. Not that night. I poured a glass of wine, sat by the window, and opened a drawer I hadn't touched in years. Inside, a box of birthday cards, all blank, all bought for her, one for every year she forgot. I had written the years in pencil on the back. 2011, 2012, 2013, 12 cards. 12 unopened wounds. I held the one from 2014. The cover said, "To the woman who taught me everything." Inside, it was still blank, just like every April 4th since I turned 21. I held that card in one hand, the wedding invoice in the other. And for the first time in my life, I didn't cry. Growing up, my birthday always landed during a busy time. Mom would say things like, "We'll do something later," or "You don't need a party to feel special," but later never came. And special was always reserved for Samantha. Samantha had birthday weeks, themes, cakes with edible glitter. I once watched Mom spend $300 on helium balloons and say, "You only turned 13 once." When I turned 13, we got takeout because she had a migraine. Dad never said much. He'd hand me a card with a $20 bill and a half-hearted smile. "Don't make your mother feel bad," he whispered once, like my hurt feelings were the real crime. I learned young that in our house, affection was a limited resource, and Samantha had already claimed it. She got applause for breathing. I got silence for existing. It wasn't just birthdays. It was everything. School awards, Mom would say, "Of course you did well, you're supposed to." Samantha passed a class she was failing and it was a celebration. We're just so proud of how hard she tried. I kept my head down, did well, got into a good college, paid for most of it myself. Samantha flunked out of her first year and Mom told everyone it was because the school wasn't the right fit for her energy. At 24, I bought my first used car, paid it off in 18 months. At 25, Samantha crashed her second one and they co-signed a lease for her next. I moved out at 26, quietly, no big fight, just distance. Mom didn't ask why. She just said, "Don't forget we're still a family." But family didn't remember April 4th. They only remembered me when something needed solving or funding. In this house, love wasn't given, it was earned, and I was always just short. I visited less and less. The silences grew. Samantha took over the space I left behind, literally. She moved into my old room and painted over the walls I once cried against. When Dad got sick last year, I handled the paperwork. I called the doctors, paid for one of his prescriptions when insurance got tricky. No one thanked me. No one offered to split the cost. Now, they were splitting wedding expenses per tradition. Only one tradition had ever been consistent in that house. I give, they forget. The red flags weren't in what they said, they were in what they didn't. Like how I'd show up to family dinners and be asked about my job, then cut off mid-sentence when Samantha entered the room. Suddenly, I didn't exist. Or how Mom would say, "You know I love you both equally," but only post photos of Samantha on her social media. Even on my graduation day, the caption read, "So proud of our girls." But the picture was just of Samantha smiling in the crowd. I started noticing that my name only came up when something needed fixing. Taxes, insurance, booking a flight. The tasks no one wanted. The invisible backbone jobs. I wasn't a daughter. I was tech support with a heartbeat. When Samantha got engaged, I didn't get a call. I found out from a coworker who saw it on Instagram, a filtered photo with the caption, "Couldn't say yes fast enough." Mom commented within minutes, "You deserve everything, sweetheart." I scrolled for hours that night, not a single tag, mention, or message, not even a "hope you're doing well." It was like I had been quietly written out of the script. Then came the group text about wedding planning. I was added at the bottom, no greeting, just, "Natalie, you'll cover flowers and half the venue, right?" Like a financial ghost with a wallet still in circulation. When I hesitated, Samantha messaged me privately, "Don't make this about you. Mom's stressed enough, her stress was sacred." My silence was expected. I tried to talk to Dad. He looked uncomfortable, said, "You know how your mother gets," and left the room. He always left the room when things got real. A week later, I got a forwarded email from the wedding planner. My name was already listed on the budget, no confirmation, no consent, just Natalie paid. I checked my bank account. They hadn't touched it, but the expectation was already signed in their minds. I wanted to scream, but instead, I opened the drawer with the birthday cards. I picked one at random, 2018. The front said, "To the one who always remembers." I held it to my chest like a bruise. They remembered me when I was useful, but never when I needed to be loved. It happened at the bridal shower. I debated not going, but guilt still had teeth, and I showed up with a polite smile and a modest gift. It was a cookbook, practical, thoughtful, not flashy. As I walked in, Mom glanced at me, barely nodded, then turned back to Samantha and her glittering crowd of friends. I wasn't introduced, just absorbed into the background like furniture. They played games, took selfies, toasted with pink champagne. When it came time to open gifts, mine was placed on the later pile. Samantha smiled at everyone else's presents. She didn't even glance at mine. Then Mom stood up with a big grin and said, "We just want to thank everyone who helped make this dream day possible, especially Natalie, who generously covered the flowers and part of the venue." Gasps, applause, clinking glasses, all eyes on me. They didn't invite me to be seen, just to be used. I froze. I hadn't paid anything. I hadn't agreed. Yet here I was, publicly named as the benefactor. Like some silent investor in a fantasy I never believed in. Samantha laughed and added, "That's our Natalie, always dependable," like I was a brand, not a sister. My chest burned, not from shame but from fury. I felt the weight of every forgotten birthday pressing against my ribs. I tried to speak, to say, "Actually, that's not accurate," but Mom shot me a look-tight smile, eyes warning. The room waited. I swallowed the truth. I stayed silent, and they called it gratitude. After the party, I slipped out without goodbyes. No one noticed, no one followed. That night, I received an email with payment instructions from Mom, the subject line, formalizing what we discussed. There was no discussion, just a man dressed as tradition. I sat on my bed, the cards box beside me, picked up the 2021. It had gold foil lettering, "Your presence in my life is a gift." I traced the words like a scar. 12 years, no birthday call, but one bridal shower, and I'm their hero, the kind of hero no one claps for, just invoices. I didn't open the invoice again. I just left it unread in my inbox, like a landmine I refused to step on. But it sat there, pulsing, a quiet reminder of what I was to them, a line item, a resource. I stopped responding to texts, ignored group chats. Samantha messaged once, "Can you just handle this already?" I didn't reply, not out of power, out of exhaustion. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Just sat at the edge of my bed at 3 a.m., holding a birthday card from 2015. The front said, "You raised me to be strong," and I wanted to laugh. Because she hadn't raised me, she had hollowed me. I broke quietly, alone, the way they trained me to exist. A friend noticed something was off. She came over with soup and silence. I didn't explain, just handed her one of the cards. She read the year. Her face changed. She whispered, "You kept these?" I nodded. That's when I realized I hadn't been holding onto hope. I had been holding onto proof, evidence that it wasn't all in my head, that I really had been invisible for 12 years. I printed the wedding invoice, folded it once, then once more. I didn't rip it. I couldn't, not yet, but I did place it inside the same box as the cards. Now they were all together, the forgotten, the demanded, the unpaid. Mom texted, "I hope you're not upset. This is how families do things." I didn't feel like family. I felt like a transaction waiting to be processed. Dad sent a short email. "Just, it would mean a lot if you helped. You know how things are." I wanted to scream, "Do I?" Because how things are only seems to hurt me, I took a day off work. Turned off my phone, sat on the floor and let every single birthday wash over me. April 4ths that came and went like shadows. I grieved them one by one. By nightfall, I was empty, not broken. Just done. And in that hollow space, something small sparked, the question I had never dared to ask: what if I didn't owe them anything at all? I started by deleting the wedding invoice from my inbox. No dramatic email, no statement, just click trash. It felt holy. Like taking a brick off my chest that had been there so long I forgot it wasn't part of me. Then I opened a blank document and wrote one sentence. This year, I will not pay for love. I printed it, taped it inside the lid of the box with the birthday cards. I didn't owe them anything, not for their silence, not for their celebration of someone else, not for their sudden, curated gratitude when the bills rolled in. They only remembered me when something needed funding. I finally remembered myself when I stopped giving. I started therapy again. Told my new therapist my family thinks I'm reliable, but I was just too afraid to stop showing up. She looked at me like that sentence weighed something. It did. I made a list of all the birthdays I had spent waiting, all the ones I spent pretending not to care. 12 lines, each one a quiet wound. Then I made a new list, 12 ways I would reclaim April 4th. The first one, take myself to dinner, alone. Without explanation. The second, write a letter to my childhood self, tell her she deserved balloons too. I called my bank and removed the joint account I shared with my parents. I hadn't used it in years, but it still existed. It was a thread. I cut it. I posted one thing on social media, a picture of a birthday card, dated 2011, no caption. Just the image. They never said happy birthday. But the internet did. A few people messaged me, asking what it meant. I didn't reply. Some silences are sacred. This one was mine. Mom called that night. I didn't answer. Her voicemail was exactly 13 seconds long. Not sure what that post was about, but please don't embarrass the family. I played it twice, then deleted it for the first time. Their discomfort didn't feel like mine to carry. It felt like theirs to sit in. I never replied to the wedding invoice. I didn't reject it. I didn't argue. I just let it sit in silence. No acknowledgement, no payment, no explanation. That was the revenge, not reacting, not justifying, not playing the role they built for me, letting their expectations rot in their own inbox. A week before the wedding, Samantha messaged, "Hey, just checking, did you send your part?" I left it on read. 3 hours later, Mom followed up, "It's not too late to contribute." They were so used to my obedience, my automatic yes. They didn't know how to handle my absence. They didn't get a no, they got something worse, nothing. 2 days later, I mailed something, not a check, but a box. Inside, one birthday card, the one from 2014, the front read, "To the woman who taught me everything." I left the inside blank. Just like she had 12 years in a row. No note, no return address, just silence, stamped and sealed. The wedding happened without my money. I didn't go, didn't send a gift. I watched through social media like a stranger peering through a window they once cleaned from the inside. Mom didn't tag me in any posts. Of course she didn't. That would have meant acknowledging the ghost sitting outside her perfect frame, but I saw the flowers, and I knew those weren't mine. They wanted my funding, not my presence. I gave them neither. After the wedding, I got one final message from Samantha. "Wow, you really made this about you." I didn't answer. I archived it, like she archived me every April. I lit a candle on my own that night, made pasta, poured wine, put on music, and I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because I had finally chosen myself, out loud. The next day, I opened the box of birthday cards. There were still 11 inside, but now they were evidence of what I survived, not what I hoped for. The week after the wedding, I didn't hear from them. No thank you, no confrontation, just nothing, and that nothing felt like peace. I walked to the post office with a new envelope. Not for them, this one was for me. I had printed a letter. Effective now, I am no longer emotionally employed by this family. I mailed it to my own address, proof, permission. At home, I opened the box of birthday cards one last time. Pulled out the one from 2011, it was bent, corners soft from years of being held and hidden. I lit a candle, wrote inside it, "I remember you, you mattered, you were worth the cake." Then I signed it. Love, me, the first birthday card I ever received from myself. I placed it in a new box. A wooden one I bought just for this, labeled it Natalie's. Actual history inside. I included the printout of the wedding invoice, still unpaid, still ignored. Then I added a note. Let it sit. I deleted their numbers from my phone, not out of anger. Out of clarity, out of making space, a friend called and asked, "Are you okay?" And for the first time in years, I answered honestly, I am now. I took a solo trip for my 34th birthday, booked the seat by the window, ordered dessert first, told the waiter it was my birthday, and smiled when he lit the candle. The flame didn't flicker when I said it out loud. I did not disappear. I took a photo of the dessert, captioned it, "Happy Birthday, Natalie," no hashtags, no explanations. Just the name I had been waiting to hear for 12 years from someone who finally meant it. Me. At home, the new box sat on a shelf front and center, a reminder that I was never invisible. Just UNACKNOWLEDGED. They sent me a bill for someone else's joy, so I wrote a receipt for my own. Peace.